All right, guys, welcome back. It's been a long Friday, a tiring Friday, but a busy Friday. I've got one last video that we'll probably get out for you guys today, but this is a good one. This Bronco has been tucked back in the corner for a little while because obviously you guys are loving the square body content. Don't stop watching yet. You need to watch the video if you're a classic vehicle enthusiast, if you're a Ford guy, or if you're somebody that wants to enjoy a toy and actually probably make money, to be honest. So, as you guys know, I'm not a huge proponent of the big, flashy auctions. I've tried buying there. I've tried selling there. I haven't tried all of the big auctions as far as selling, so I can't say all of them are terrible for selling, but I can tell you they're running out of good cars. They're selling a lot of crap at them. So, that being said, how do you know on TV, if you're looking at this, or if you're looking at that or that or that or that or whatever else, how to distinguish a good one from a bad one? That's not what this video is about. But this will roll across the block looking just as good as the Hubba Bubba pieced together Bondo piece of crap. Unfortunately, with the fancy lights and the red carpet, you can't tell the difference. This Bronco at Barrett Jackson or Mecum, if it did not bring six figures, I'd kiss your tushy. This is the right kind of merchandise. How much is it for sale for with me? $67,000 buys this Bronco. The original owner had it for $90 posted. From what we were told, I did not get it from him. I got it through a third party. And then we've had it up for sale for a while, but we finally had time to go over it. Nook and cranny go over it, I guess you'd say. We went over it pretty quickly at first, but here's the rundown on where we currently are. The vehicle's clean. Yes, it's under some good lights, but it looks this good in person no matter what light it is in. We just yesterday had a chance. Mike took the time to run the VIN number. This is VIN decoded as a factory half cab truck. The numbers are on the website, but I think 6,000 were produced with the half cab. Yes, it's had a, sorry, there'll be a little noise over there for a minute. Yes, the half cab is not as cool as the SUV in some cases, but it's way more rare. This truck also, when we got it, we were told that. So now I can kind of believe the other stuff I was told. I was told it had one fender replaced, one door replaced. Everything else was original reconditioned sheet metal, and now I believe that. I also know for sure when we had it in the shop, and Brian is a huge Bronco buff, had one in high school, so he keeps up with these trucks way more than me or Daniel or Johnny or anybody else. It had a leak from the steering box. We replaced the steering box. From what he could tell, it was the original steering box. So why is that a big deal? I've said that in a previous video. It's a big deal because one, the wear and tear was minimum if it never had a steering box replaced. But number two, if you look at the steering box, you see these nuts here. He actually had to take the screwdriver and find them. They were smoothed over with debris. You know, oil gets dust and it builds up. You had to take a screwdriver to find the nuts. Of course, you see how clean of a job they do when they replace something. So it was done right. It was done clean. Those bolts would hold together a freaking lift kit, so they're not going anywhere. You can see the little markings on them. If you don't know, those little dashes mean how strong the bolt and nut is. So we replaced that. Knowing it had a factory one on it also means that it did not get a ton of work underneath, meaning they didn't sandblast, they didn't Bondo the frame, they didn't do anything weird like that. So that's very impressive as far as that goes. The other thing they noticed was that the drive shafts were basically original. So both drive shafts have been upgraded with a dual Cardane system, front and back. So not only is that going to take some of the vibration out, like on a Jeep because of short wheelbase, but it's also going to make them last a lot longer, and they are new front to back. Also on the rear differential, while putting that in, they cleaned up all that. All the grooves on the third member had the grease and dirt and debris all built up. So not knocking the way they did the restoration, they just did not need to do some parts of the restoration because they were in good shape already. They replaced the fuel tank, the fuel system. Under the hood appears to have had a mechanical restoration. Transmission shifts fine. It is 3 on the tree. Very few of my guys can even drive that. And it's pretty darn original, appointed under the hood. The wiring's clean. It's got an aftermarket hold down on the battery, but they kept it very, very era correct under there. Nice manifold. Come here, Dave. You know the answer to this. From the factory, did it have a manifold? Did it have a header?
No, it had a manifold.
Okay, so that's an aftermarket header. Dave was 100 years old when these came out new, so he should know. And that would be a 300 six-cylinder? No.
270, 240 or 270.
Six-cylinder.
Back in.
All right. So what he said, again, he would know. He spent his whole life at Ford, so. But you can see they even cleaned up and painted all the pulleys, fresh alternator, hoses, radiator. Again, they did a good job. The wiring is very simple and very clean. So everything's put together nice on that. Not a whole lot to look at under the hood, but what you can see, the hardware again, they used is all nice and clean here. Hood prop, we don't need to prop it, it's okay. The body lines are good. If you look down the body lines of the truck, the gaps are good. The way they color coordinated the front, which is era correct as possible. All the chrome, all the stainless is good. Oh, cool. Dave found a toy. Dave's our all-tech specialist.
A bucket truck.
A bucket truck toy. It does have a small lift kit, meaning that those parts and all are good underneath and fresh, much fresher than the truck. The exhaust was done decently well. I know in the previous video I said something about the hangers could have been cleaned up a little bit. And again, being picky with that. 33-inch tires. They don't appear to have a couple hundred miles on them. Alloy wheels. Of course, the body is cut. And you hear people talk about cut from the factory. Obviously, it came across right here. So when you lift them, you cut it. That way everything matches front and back. My dad actually cut a lot of these trucks over the years and put the fender flares on. Roll bar in the back. Interior. Door fitment. So nice. They pop open like they're supposed to. All the trim in here is good. Little small touches like this right here. This right here. It's actually a Swamper tire tread pattern. Much nicer, newer replacement seats that are very comfortable in this. Windshield wiper motors. All the trim. All the buttons on the dash. This truck does not love to run down the highway. I'll give you all the negatives now that I gave you all the positives. We've driven this to several shows and events. It doesn't love to cruise down the highway. You're zinging it pretty hard, you know, to run highway speeds. But we've done it. We drove it to Richmond to a show. I drove it back myself at 10 o'clock at night in traffic on a Sunday, and it did fine. It does have a small leak. You will see it will leave a drip on the ground. And that is probably the rear main seal. That's not a problem to attend to, but we don't mind being completely honest about it. A little driving might help it. It's been sitting a lot. And again, we don't know. Is the motor new? Is the transmission new? We know the differentials are not new. We don't know the level of that. We didn't do it. But I can tell you at $67,000 for a half cab truck, if two people would bid on this thing at an auction, it would be a six-figure truck. How confident can I say that? This truck is not one bit nicer or cleaner than the one we just sold for $250,000. Now that one was a Bronco SUV, and it did have a Coyote swap, and it was a killer build as well. But body, paint, and fitment for somebody that wants an OE type Bronco, this truck is just as nice. I would park them beside each other. I had them parked beside each other in one of the videos. You cannot frown on this. Nobody's looked at this Bronco and turned their nose up. They just haven't seen it. It's been in the showroom over there. It's been in my house. It's been down at the off-road shop. It really hasn't been publicized the way it should, other than at some shows where people thought it was our personal, and it's not. It's for sale. It's a great Bronco, guys. So don't sleep on this one. If you know a neighbor, a friend, a buddy, a cousin, an uncle, anybody looking for a Bronco, this one sure seems like a sales pitch, I know, but do your research. No bull crap. This is a killer specimen and a good-looking Bronco, a well-preserved Bronco, and something I would be proud to ship home to somebody anywhere in the world. And you can have it next week for all that matters. Title's in hand. Truck is ready. You know all about it. Anything else you can think of, AJ? AJ gives it a thumbs up. He's one of my few that can actually drive it. And of course, Dave over there, if he can climb in it, he can drive it too. So thanks, guys. Friday afternoon, September 2024, Davis Drives on YouTube, Davis Auto Sales. And we are out.